The Informal County Board of Commissioners informal work session for October 9th, 2018. And we don't have a work session, but we do have a department update, Community Justice with Jessica Beach. Jessica, congratulations again. Nice to hear about your appointment.
Excellent. Hello, Commissioners and Administration. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to come and update you. I'll be very brief. I just have 2 items that I wanted to tell you about today. As you may have heard, our lipstick coordinator, which was funded through a federal grant, Ian Davidson, got hired by the Criminal Justice Commission. He started about 2 weeks ago, and although we hate to see him go, he actually will be filling the same position as the person that previously worked on our Criminal Justice Reinvestment Fund grant. So, assuming those grants continue, which there's no indication that they wouldn't, I'll continue to work with Ian in that capacity at the Criminal Justice Commission, which is great. So in the interim, as you know, Ted Spintana, the previous director, who I replaced, Community Justice, he's already a contract employee with us, and he has agreed to take on ACE coordinator duties for us, which I think will be just fine per his current workload, and he's really excited for the task. Putting him up to speed. He and I and Ian had a chance to sit down the week before he left us and get him updated, and he's really excited to be on board.
I have a question for you. Did you have the opportunity at your level, your administrative level, to talk to Polk County's criminal justice person? Because yesterday there seems to be, when I talked to Commissioner Pope, after we had our meeting, there's something to see either he doesn't quite know what's going on, and he wasn't brought up because we talked about the same kind of things. So I don't know if their staff isn't bringing their commission up to date on potentially if Ted one work for them, then you contract with them directly.
Oh, I don't know anything. Yeah, I don't know anything about them working with Ted.
Yeah, evidently it wasn't communicated that what we wanted to do from their criminal justice people up to their commissioners.
Oh, I see. So I did speak to Jody Merritt, who's the director at Polk County, but that was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, about what their plan was moving forward. But it didn't include Ted only because Ted is currently our contract employee.
Yeah.
So my assumption was if they had interest in working with them.
Well, the commissioner said yesterday he was still kind of waiting on us to see what we were going to do. And I said, well, we kind of decided. And he said, well, nobody communicates. So I didn't know. We didn't communicate with them saying we're going our own direction.
Well, the other piece is that's a good point. We're also waiting for Ian, ironically, who's in that position now. He's looking at the grant and he's looking at what those capabilities.
There was just a little confusion.
And I think we need to work back through AOC because they manage that.
Yeah, but that's what.
So they're the ones that I'm sure Polk County is looking to. And I talked to Ian yesterday over in Salem, and also to Andy Smith, who coordinates that for AOC. So there is some conversation taking place.
Yeah, I talked to Andy yesterday too. It just seems like the conversation's kind of going like this. It's like it's.
Commissioner, if you remember when we met with you a couple of weeks ago, you said you were going to touch base with Commissioner Pope, and Jessica was going to touch base with.
Well, no, and that's what I did yesterday. I touched base with Commissioner Pope, and he didn't.
And you were going to let him know that we were going to contract.
But he was
with
not
Ted.
hearing anything from his mental health or his criminal justice people, and so I wanted to find out if we had communicated on our level, on your level with them. So.
Anyway, Andy's in the loop, and Ian is too. I talked to him about that yesterday.
Yeah, Jessica's been talking with Andy too.
Andy as well.
So
And I probably.
That's where it needs to go out from because they're the ones that initiated it here, and so I would just leave it up to Andy to connect with Polk County, and we have taken the steps, and you've already made Andy aware of what we're going to do here at this level. And if he wants to then piggyback on that with Polk County.
Well, we also didn't want to speak for Ted.
No.
Because he's in control of his own hours. He has to watch how many hours he works. He's also working for the state. So we felt that it was best for Polk County to decide what they wanted to do, and it was up to Ted to determine whether or not he wants to take that on as well.
But anyway, I know that Andy's in the group.
And I probably should have clarified that we already had Ted as a contract employee, so
Right.
this was, in my opinion, a quick fix to fill a hole till we found out a long term.
And there's nothing saying, in fact, it's highly unlikely that grant's gonna be reinstated, so we've got, 11 months left on that grant.
Till July.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, if
September.
Ted can step in there and do some of that work to keep this going, because Ian was doing a great job.
And Andy definitely said that the grant wouldn't be over
And so,
September. or
anyway,
September.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right.
I did have one other thing, just briefly, and I'll be very brief. So as you know, pretrial data is something that's very important to me in Hill County. And I've been working very closely for several years with Shane, with the IT department manager who's behind me. And we created our own in-house information system. We call it PJIS, the Pretrial Justice Information System. And they've done a wonderful job of creating this case management system. But due to lack of capacity and needing data now, we're actually looking at a pretrial information system off the shelf called Audemon. And Shane, I sincerely appreciate, has been involved in all those conversations because his input is very important to me, especially with his experience in information systems. But there are several counties throughout the state of Oregon who have implemented it, and it's a case management system as well as a data dashboard for pretrial data elements, and you can actually develop your own reports out of it. And what I especially like is that it has built into it, with no additional cost, the court notification calls that we've seen such great success with. And not only do they complete telephone calls, but also text messages, which is a limitation of our current software. So that's something that we're looking into. Shane has been involved in all those conversations with Audemon, and hopefully we'll have an update for you on that soon.
You did a very good explanation this morning.
Thank you. I was going to say, this is the second time you've heard that today.
Yeah,
Jessica,
very good explanation.
But with CAMS, is it supplanting that? And is the cost of that going away?
So it would go away, absolutely. And in fact, the cost to this Audemon, and we don't know exactly what that's going to be yet. We're working with them. It's based on exactly what we need. But it's a very reasonable cost that would actually be less than what we're currently paying for this fieldware. So that's the idea. It would replace it, but it would also be a case management and a data information system. So,
All rolled into one?
yeah.
and integrating it into our system is no problem at all.
Not with Shane around.
I was looking at Shane.
I'm sure you say, right, Shane?
It's like, we actually have a technical meeting scheduled for November 5th.
Okay.
And we had an initial talk, they've given us some papers, and we're kind of looking, actually, part of it is the data migration of our current system, get that data over, as well as look at what it would take to interface it with some other systems like AIMS. So we're definitely doing our due diligence.
Yeah, Shane wasn't there this morning, but that was probably most of our meeting was spent discussing the interfaces and developing the interfaces and how would those work, who would those, like where data would reside, so data didn't have to reside in 4 different systems or 4 different spots. So
Great, and I like that notification piece because that's been working so good for Yamhill County, and continue that and have it expandable is really great.
Absolutely. It's the only way I remember about my dental appointment today.
no kidding.
Anybody else?
And again, congratulations
Yeah,
on your appointment to the
congratulations.
Criminal Justice Commission.
Yeah, congratulations.
And we expect big things from you. We expect your focus to be on the right.
It's like, yeah, we
That's
expect
right,
big
yeah.
dollar signs from you, or from the Criminal Justice Commission.
See what I can do.
I figured you would.
Jessica.
All right,
Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Jessica.
Take care.
Thank you so much. All right, you can move on to the item C, which is the consent agenda. And do we have any, and that includes the minutes and contracts, grants, I think everybody had a chance to look over this. And also Shane is here in case anyone has a question about Office 365. anyone have any
Yeah,
questions?
I have one question.
Shane, why don't you come on,
Yeah,
come on down?
Now, that one, since we're not current on this, 176 gets us up to current for all of our licenses. And does that come with 1 year annual license, or?
Yeah, it's 1 year, 158 of that, I think, right around 158,000 is the licensing portion. The other piece, of course, is a one-time cost to assist us with migration.
So what is the annual software licensing cost after?
That'd be the
we purchase these?
158, just at the current head count.
Annually?
Yep.
158,000 annually.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions about this?
I'm sure that Shane has vetted it thoroughly, and given your history in IT, you know that these costs are there. They don't, once somebody has a handle on something, they charge for it.
Well, he's
Absolutely.
actually done the 5-year analysis, and over the time, it ends up being less expensive than if the individual licenses were purchased.
Well, yeah, I think this is the right way to go.
We did a 5 and 10 year, actually, yes, we looked at that.
And he gives us full support and maintenance and upgrades and everything.
Yeah, you keep that up, you have all that. Yeah, and actually you have 5 licenses per user, which is nice. And so if you have different devices, you can have up to 5 different devices and have a license copy on each of those. So that's nice as well. So yeah, and then like I said, with not having the software assurance, we're kind of at that crossroads now, a fork in the road. That's why we looked at this, and it just looks really promising. It also gives us some good tools to look at down the road, like SharePoint. You have all the licenses for that, and we decided to integrate that. So there's lots of upside there.
Same with OneNote. Was OneNote in the Office package?
Yep, that's there. So yeah, we're not going to have the kind of the cloud. We're not going to store stuff in the cloud just yet. I believe we kind of first things first,
Sure.
get our email over, get a successful implementation, and then we need to understand that before we turn that feature on, get approval here, because then that opens it up, for what we have for backups, e-discovery, all those things. So we want to understand that. So it would look the same as it does today. Everything's stored here locally, just using.
The reason I ask that, because after the last 2 months of using OneNote quite a bit, I can see a lot of things that I know Ken uses it, and a lot of people in the organization use it. And I can see to be able to share some of the OneNote notebooks and everything is very valuable.
Absolutely,
Very valuable.
it's a great tool. Absolutely.
On the transit, they're using OneNote.
Yeah, OneNote.
Any other questions?
So this will be the equivalent of sort of the notice of intent to award
Okay.
the contracts for both the consulting piece with Tangent and the actual licensing agreement. Once those have been reviewed, we'll come back before the board at a later date.
Yes, and
Thank you.
on the next item,
I have one more question. Is the consulting fee, is that with Tangent also?
It is, yes, yeah. And like I said, we looked at a few different vendors, 3 in fact, and they came in at a really good price point, as well as looking at their track record in smooth executions. That was a big thing too, so we feel confident with them. So.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shane.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon.
See you.
Commissioner, did you have something under committees that you wanted to discuss?
yes, I met with Nathan Ford. I think you've all had an opportunity to read his application, but I met with him, and this gentleman spent almost 20 years as a lobbyist in D.C. and also a lobbyist here in the state of Oregon, has tremendous connections, and we're on our way into fighting to get dollars for phase 2 of the bypass. He's like somebody dropped him in out of here, out of heaven, because he can really be a resource for us. I'm so excited about getting him on the Parkway Committee, and he's a resident of Dundee now, and he really is anxious to participate. So, and then Denise she's a strong advocate for the bypass, and being on the tribal council, she's fighting. Polk County is wanting money to do a different interchange there where you come on 18 onto 22, and Denise is trying to move that money over to the bypass project, and Craig Pope and I have had a few conversations about that, but she's really fighting hard for the tribe to be an additional participant. You know, they wrote that check for $4 million on the first phase, and we could be looking at least that much again for phase 2. So
And looking at the Highway 2022, Highway 18 interchange, to me, that's one of those ODOT that's a real overkill for what they want to do that's needed. The bypass could use the money much more.
well, that one they did for Fort Hills,
That was ludicrous.
absolutely. But bottom line is, all I want to do is make sure we get a Parkway committee made up of people who are really going to bring something to the table, and I think these two do that in spades. So I'm very excited about it.
So,
And I would suggest we move these items to the consent agenda for Thursday.
okay. All right. One more thing I wanted to add on, it's not on your agenda, but I would like approval to send a letter to Oregon Housing and Community Services, and that has to do with the project Welcome Home. As you know, Oregon Housing and Community Services is going to use video lottery dollars, veterans video lottery dollars, to provide technical assistance to 10 communities around this Operation Welcome Home. So we know that YCAP and the Housing Authority have agreed to partner on this, and they asked us for a letter of support. So I've written sort of a preliminary letter of support because they are starting to work on it, and we can go ahead and submit this. So if you want to take a look at what I've written, it's just basically supporting YCAP and Housing Authority with OHCS. So there's
If you wrote it, it's
that.
okay with me.
Well, it's just basically short and just saying that we're supportive of them, and that will kind of give a little oomph to us getting, to our community getting those video lottery dollars for veterans housing.
And can it wait until Thursday to be approved?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Right.
We'll format it for you then and have it
Thank
ready.
you. Okay, I sent it to Carrie, and I've got a copy here if you want it.
Caroline will take care of it.
Okay, great. All right, so let's, if there's nothing else for the agenda, we'll start with.
Madam Chair, there may be one other item for the agenda I just want to make you aware of. We're close to closing on the sale of the unoccupied, undeveloped parcel to Lafayette to the Housing Authority. They're close to being ready to move forward. They may be ready as early as this week, in which case we might bring the agreement back to the board on Thursday for your final approval, and then close end of this week or early next. If not, it will likely be next week. So just want to give you a heads up that that's moving towards closing. And
Whereabouts in Lafayette is that parcel? Refresh my mind.
717 North Adams.
On Adams Street.
It's a
7th Avenue.
It's a lot that is undeveloped, and they've actually determined that they believe they can put a duplex on it, so they can serve 2 families. So they were very excited about that opportunity.
Great, thank you for doing
Yes.
all these.
Thanks, Christian.
Sure.
All right, so we'll move on to, we have no non-consent agenda items, no executive session. Commissioner updates. Commissioner Olson, we'll start with you.
Well, I think the only thing that I reported is yesterday was probably one of the better AOC days. It was a long day, but I think we talked about a lot of things that really affect the counties beside the road fund. I think natural resources, and you there for part of the first part for the water, but I had the water resources and the supply after you left to go to those great conversations about how AOC should move forward for that. We got an update on the CCA, the Citizens Choice. Citizens Choice aggregation, where it gives counties and organizations the ability to, in non-municipally owned utilities, to form their own, like regional areas, to form their own utilities, consumer-type based utilities. Chances are it won't even make it. It's going to go in front of the legislature. Chances are it won't make it out of committee this year because, again, PG has such a strong lobbying voice, has put a lot of money into lobbying. But they're actually implementing some of it in California, where taking from Southern California Gas and Electric, when there's actually cities and areas that have pulled back from that and are implementing the CCA to lower people's utility rates. But But I think that's gonna be a subject we're gonna hear a lot more of in the next couple of years. It's kind of like broadband cable. There's a big push to get the electrical utility rates down by forming CCAs. So, other than that,
Commissioner?
And just to piggyback on that, there was a lot of discussion of the California model is what they're using to take the legislature, but as Mr. Olson said, they don't anticipate any
They go
success. Veterans, did we apply for that technical assistance grant?
Well, we're not applying for it, but YCAP is applying for it in conjunction with the Housing Authority, but it's going to be done here, and we're supporting it, and so
I did, because
they're the
I
ones who
told-
are doing the
Yeah,
application.
I
They're the
told
actual
Mitch
applicants.
yesterday
Yeah.
that he better
Yes.
make sure we're on the list of recipients.
No,
because-
YCAP's taking the lead.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I know the emails went around, I just want to make sure that we didn't not get that, because they're going to be throwing that money out there, and I want it in Yamhill County also.
I think that's why the letter of support from us is very critical.
Mhm.
Again, with veterans, there's they've got their house in order over there now with, since the transition to the new, Kelly is our new ODVA officer, commander. And Mitch is very high on her. And, Mitch Sparks, who is now just going to continue to be the director of benefits for ODVA. So there's a lot of good things happening there, and it's important to Yamhill County. I think you heard the number, 59 million is what came into this county last year from veteran benefits. And we haven't, all of our veterans aren't getting all of their benefits, so if we can really push, I think it benefits our county to make sure that we're giving our VSO all of the support that he needs in the periphery of jobs, and letting him work focused on getting those benefits, because it's very important. It was a long day yesterday. The budget committee met for a long time yesterday afternoon. We are revamping. I was very impressed with the reorganization, how the budget's going to be presented. We're breaking out general fund and road fund, and those are going to, each department, they've designated departments now, and each department will build their own budget, and $100,000 has been budgeted for repayment of the money from the road fund, which right now that's the number, and our budget will be built around that. There of the 35 counties, well, 36, because
Maybe.
Jackson County is going to participate to a degree. About 2/3 of the counties have said that they would like to pay this in a one-time payment, so that will significantly reduce what's going to come out of the budget each year for the next 10. Every county is going to be given options as to how they repay it.
But there's interest.
There's interest, and when you look at our payment, it's not significant, either one of the models they used, so.
It's not very much
And
difference.
rather than leave this thing for, future board of commissioners to have to deal with, but we aren't working on that yet. Anyway, a lot of conversation there. We'll have another budget meeting on the 22nd to finalize that for AOC.
I think what's very important to me is talking to Rod and talking to Michael, and then at the meeting is the fiscal policies that are being put in place, the different methods that are being put in place and processes, the fact that we're going to have an internal audit review committee within the organization. They'll work closely with the budget committee and the executive board and staff to ensure that this can't happen. This can't happen again, which
And I think just restructuring.
The whole budget, yeah.
So that the.
Understanding what's
departments
really
are
on.
doing their own, there's a lot of things, but this committee, the finance committee, will be an important part of that.
And Commissioner Tardoff from Columbia County was instrumental when he was elected treasurer of first looking at this and saying, as even a financial person, I can't make heads or tails of it. A lot of it's in Excel spreadsheets, a lot of it was in an old accounting system. So he says, I can't really tell you what our financials are because I don't know. So him and President Pope were really critical in getting this moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it's some unflattering press out there about the organization.
Oregon
But I
Live, yeah.
think that, everybody seems to realize we have two choices and they're not,
And I think the forensic audit that's taking place by Moss Adams to go back to 2011 and really identify where these dollars went, I don't think we're going to find.
I don't think any fraud or anything like that.
But
It doesn't
certainly
matter.
mismanagement.
Mismanagement is the biggest
But
one.
anyway, I think that we're taking all the right steps. So
What surprised me is the old auditors before Moss Adams stepped in, giving the last from 2012 an unqualified opinion. That's the only thing my biggest concern
thumbs up,
is.
yeah. I know, somebody was asleep at the switch.
well,
But anyway, we're
Alright.
moving in the right
Okay.
direction, definitely.
and
Okay, just a couple of quick updates. I'll be going with Jeff Claybaugh, who's the pastor at Finville's First Christian Church, to meet with Kate Stokes to see the youth outreach program, because Jeff is basically offering up First Christian Church as a space which could be used as a drop-in center, so we're going to see how that works. Tonight is the Prepare Out Loud Red Cross preparedness presentation at Linfield, which I gotta tell you is like nothing else you've ever seen. So if you can get there tonight, it's at 6 o'clock, and it will definitely give you a reason to prepare.
and Mary's speaking.
Well, yeah, but that's not why you should go.
No, I thought that was. I thought Brian said that was the highlight. He's speaking.
Yeah, that'll be one of them. Also, Silas and Laura and I are going to be meeting with Frank Sheridan tomorrow.
Sheridan from Sheridan.
To talk about some housing options that the county would be involved in. Also, Representative Noble has submitted a legislative concept on our bill to bring child welfare back to the county, so we're excited to see that. And that we're waiting for the actual thumbs up from Legislative Council on that one. And I think that's all I have right now. So if there's nothing else for the good of the order, we'll go ahead and adjourn today's meeting. Ding.